Coming up on NewsWatch 12 this morning, an Oregon resident is sharing the aftermath of his home from the Copperfield fire.
And another civil lawsuit has been filed against Asante and the former nurse.
Cooler temperatures and showers are already beginning to make their way into the region.
Watching out for you. This is NewsWatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. It's 6 a.m. on this Wednesday morning. Welcome to NewsWatch 12 this morning. I'm Damon Alvarado.
And I'm Brinkley Hill. Let's check in with Stormwatch 12 meteorologist Sarah Kress this morning. Sarah, you've been talking a little bit about the rain we might see and saying that everyone needs to grab a jacket. When can we expect to start to see that rain?
We've already begun to see some of those showers move in. Right now, this morning, we saw along the coast with some showers, and now they're making their way into Jackson County. So you will most likely be needing an umbrella this morning over west side of the Cascades. But as we head home from school, you might want to take it because you'll be needing it later this afternoon with a chance to see showers over making their way to the east side. But again, right now this morning, we're already seeing some action into Jackson County. Soon it'll be making its way to the Cascades. And again, as we're making our way through the morning, we will see some showers over into the Klamath Basin. But right now, your temperatures 56 into Medford, 53 over in Klamath Falls, a little bit warmer than yesterday. Over along the coast, 54 in Brookings and 55 in Montague this morning. Now for the rest of today, we're not getting much hotter than what we're seeing right now. Highs only into the upper 60s. For most of the region over on the east side, you're seeing your highs pretty similar to the coast in the lower 60s. For most of the region today, we also are expecting those showers and some thunderstorms potentially into the mix. We'll talk more about when we can be seeing most of these showers and for how long coming up later.
The Copperfield fire has burned thousands of acres and burned down multiple homes, changing people's lives forever.
NewsWatch 12's Rocky Walker went to the property of a man who lost his home. Here's that story.
While the Copperfield fire is currently mostly contained, the day that it burned and blew up, it destroyed multiple homes, and it burned so hot that it melted the hubcaps from cars pooling onto the floor. Located near the fire's epicenter, Dave Cheney showed me what was left of his home.
This is a house.
Being piles of ash and burnt and melted metal.
It got so hot.
He was on his way back home when the fire started, with its intense nature changing his life in an instant.
I went fishing, we were gonna have a barbecue, we were doing this, everything was, and then all of a sudden it all changed and into total destruction of everything I worked for.
When sheriffs told him he couldn't reach his home, all he could hear was the burning of his property.
I could hear the explosions, and every explosion, you know that a piece of your life is gone. So.
When he returned back to his home, nothing survived. Possessions, documents, and memories made in the house.
The majority of everything so far that I've seen is cooked beyond recognition.
With his documents burned, he can't rebuild until he replaces the proof that the property that's lost is his.
We're just scratching the surface of stuff that we have to replace to get our lives back together. That's just a big question mark of how far we're going to have to go before we get back on some kind of a level ground again.
While much of his property was left unrecognizable, a light, he says, in it all was that something could survive the fire. The lives of 2 of his chickens.
And I heard this soft cluck, and I turned and looked down, and she came out from underneath this metal, and then another one came out. They wouldn't let you touch them, but she actually let me kind of pet her a little bit, and I just felt so bad what they had to have seen. I mean, what they witnessed had to be horrific.
Cheney and his wife are currently staying in a camp trailer in Bend until they could try to rebuild and replace what they can of the home they lost. And the chickens are safe in a new home as well. Near Chiloquin, Rocky Walker, NewsWatch 12.
And that Copperfield fire is 94% contained this morning. More than 3,800 acres have been burned in the 9 days it has been active. Fire officials say 22 structures were destroyed in the fire, including 8 homes. And as you just saw, David's house himself. It has an estimated cost of nearly $9 million.
In Southern Oregon, Medford's air tanker base is pivotal in fighting wildfires. The U.S. Forest Service says that the tanker base has set an all-time record for gallons dropped this year. 330 loads of retardant have been delivered to 66 different large fires across the region. That's a total of more than 1,670,000 gallons dropped on this fires this season. The Medford tanker base has aircraft dispatched to fires in Oregon, California, Washington, Idaho, Utah, and Wyoming. In an update, a third civil lawsuit has been filed against the former nurse accused of drug diversion as well as Asante Rogue Regional. The newest lawsuit is seeking $116 million. The documents state that a Brookings woman was taken to Asante at the directive of the emergency room of Curry Health Network. It states that she was suffering from severe respiratory distress. The lawsuit says that former nurse Danny Schofield was the only nurse who utilized the order for fentanyl. It then states that the Brookings woman suffered from multiple infections.
The lawsuits continued, saying that the woman now requires a catheter, colostomy bag, and feeder tube full-time. The woman and her lawyers are seeking $90 million in economic damages, $1 million for medical expenses, $25 million for future medical expenses, and roughly $370,000 for lost wages. This is the fourth case filed in regards to the drug diversion investigation at Asante.
This morning we have an update. The Oregon Health Authority has lifted the boiling water advisory in Shady Cove. An intake pump broke just over a week ago, leaving the Highland Water Corporation users with little to no clean drinking water. A temporary pump has been installed while the permanent pump is being repaired. Water quality testing has confirmed that the water meets the Oregon Health Authority's drinking water standards and is now safe to drink.
In honor of National Preparedness Month, the Oregon Department of Human Services announced a new contract that will provide advanced evacuation software to Oregon. And the contract is with Genesis Inc., formerly known as Zone Haven, and will help manage emergency evacuations more effectively across the state. The Genesis Evac software allows emergency services to create and update evacuation plans and respond to emergencies faster. Testing in Deschutes and Jackson counties after the severe fires in 2020 led to the statewide use. And now moving into a money alert this morning, the Fairview Trust has distributed more than $5 million in grants across Oregon. The funding is to support housing and advocacy for those living with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD. Out of the 11 organizations, Living Opportunities in Medford is receiving $147,000. These funds are to help develop 5 to 10 housing units to promote independent living for those with IDD.